So the dramatic events leading to the arrest of former Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu started after midnight, and there was a huge contingent of police who in fact surrounded the vanity van and the function hall where Mr. Chandrababu Naidu was staying, and at around 6 a.m. is when we are told he was formally arrested and taken from Nandyal by road to Vijayawada to be presented before a court or judge in Vijayawada. So what is this conspiracy and what is the arrest about? This is an alleged fraud that happened in the AP State Skill Development Corporation, that was in fact an entity that was created according to the CID without by bypassing in fact the Council of Ministers, and that Chandrababu Naidu had created this entity and had along with Mr. Ganta Srinivas Rao Minister, and that Ganta Subhash was appointed as the MD and CEO of this particular corporation. Even before that, they had entered into a tripartite agreement between the government of Andhra Pradesh, Siemens, the India company CSISW, and also Design Tech, another venture, to create 6 clusters of centers of excellence, and the project cost was put at 3,300 crore rupees, 550 crore rupees for every center of excellence. And the agreement, according to the government order that was issued, was that 90% of this would be put up by the tech partners, which is Siemens as well as Design Tech, whereas 10% would be given as grant in aid by the government itself. What subsequently happened was that there was an MOU that was entered into, in which this 90% was not mentioned at all, and the 10% amount that was to be given by the government was mentioned, and subsequently the government did release 371 crores. What is being pointed out there is that this was released as advance. The entire advance was released to Design Tech, whereas going by the norms, it should have been released only in tranches and with a performance guarantee, and with subsequent funds being released by the other partner as well. Whereas what is being told is that according to the files, the Chief Secretary, the Finance Secretary as well as the Special Secretary Finance had in fact noted in the file saying that this was being done at the behest of the then Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu. So 371 crore rupees get spent. The CID says that while a part of it was used for creating these centers of excellence, the rest of the money had been siphoned off through a series of shell companies that were created, and fake invoices were created as well, and that there is no delivery against the fake invoices, whereas the money got siphoned off in that particular route. So what are the violations we're talking about? The creation of the AP Skill Development Center, they are saying bypassing the council, as well as this entire money being released in advance, and that the 90% that was mentioned in the government order not being followed through in the memorandum of understanding that was reached subsequently. So while the FIR that was lodged in 2021 by the CID had mentioned 25 names, he did not mention Chandrababu Naidu and others. It had only mentioned the chief of the APSSGC as well as the chiefs of the private companies that were involved in this particular deal, as well as officials involved in this, including senior IAS officer, former IAS officer Mr. Lakshmi Narayana. What I must point out here is that the Enforcement Directorate and the GST and IT were also involved in the investigation. So was the global headquarters of the Siemens company itself. What the Siemens company has said is that their then MD, who has been Suman Bose, was acting without authorization, and that they were not going to be giving any contribution in terms of that 90% at all, and that the only monies that they have received was about 58 crore rupees that they had got, and that the rest of the money, which is said to have been transferred to Design Tech, had not landed with them. The second part of this investigation involves what is being spoken about as GST violations by this Design Tech company, and subsequently what the ED and the IT were probing is that there was misutilization of the funds, and that there was part of the money may have been sent by Hawala and paid out at Pune and at Hyderabad, and that's what the Enforcement Directorate was investigating. And in fact, they have arrested not just Mr. Suman Bose, who was then MD of SISW. They have also arrested Design Tech MD, who was named as Vikas Vinayak Kanvelkar, as well as a couple of other people who were part of this entire venture itself. The series of companies that were created, those entities, those people involved have been arrested in this case. Politically, the fallout, I must point out, yes, Chandrababu Naidu has been hinting that he could get arrested, and the YSRCP has been saying that that is part of the political kind of games that Chandrababu Naidu is playing, and that they would not have arrested them at this time if they were only doing it for political motivation, because they say that they realize that this is not a politically opportune movement for them to do that, but they were following the process of law, and that's the reason why he is getting arrested. The reasons that the CID chief, additional DGP Mr. Sanjay has mentioned for physically arresting Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, even though he says that he is not a flight risk, but he says that he is a former chief minister, a person of influence, somebody who is the leader of the main opposition party in Andhra Pradesh, and he could influence the witnesses in the course of the investigation. And because this was an offence, very serious economic offence, and that there is a conspiracy in the creation of the APSSDC itself and in bypassing the Council of Ministers, and that each of those documents that were, whether it is the understanding MOU that has reached with the companies, as well as the tripartite agreement, the GO that was drawn out, all that was with the knowledge, and he was in fact the prime mover. Chandrababu Naidu was the prime mover, and that's the reason why they believe that custodial interrogation of Chandrababu Naidu is required, and that's why they have sought his arrest, and they would be seeking his custody so that they can interrogate him further as well. The other important points that they are mentioning is that there were senior IAS officers, including the then chief secretary and finance secretary and special secretary finance, who had made notings on files which said that they were not in favor of the full advance payment being made to this design tech firm, full advance payment of 371 crore rupees, and that was done at the behest of the chief minister. The second thing that they are mentioning is that key documents in fact have gone missing, and they believe that this is part of the conspiracy to hide what had really happened or what had really transpired in this entire episode. The CID now says that while it is saying that Chandrababu Naidu and the TDP are a beneficiary in these deals that have been struck, they want to know where exactly the money has landed, and that's one of the reasons why they now want to probe further to find out where the funds were ultimately utilized, the misappropriated funds were ultimately utilized. Politically, it's interesting that the AP BJP chief Purandeshwari, who also happens to be sister-in-law of Chandrababu Naidu, she has in fact condemned the manner in which Mr. Chandrababu Naidu has got arrested. Kesineni Srinivas, who is also called Nani and is the Vijayawada MP of the TDP, he has also written to Union Home Minister Amit Shah and has suggested that the arrest is illegal and the manner in which it was conducted was wrong and it is part of a political vendetta, and he has asked for the intervention of the Union Home Minister in the arrest of Mr. Chandrababu Naidu. The other player in Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Pawan Kalyan, who is leader of the Janasena party and who has been described as a friend of Chandrababu Naidu, he's again condemned the manner in which the arrest has happened, and he has said that Chandrababu Naidu or the Telugu Desam are being blamed for law and order issues. Same had happened to his party as well, and his party leaders had been booked in false cases, and he says the responsibility of the state to maintain law and order, for them to blame Chandrababu Naidu or the Telugu Desam and to arrest their leaders, and also the original arrest of Mr. Chandrababu Naidu at Nandyal. He has condemned that and has expressed his support to Mr. Naidu as well. So politically, a very volatile situation in Andhra Pradesh on the ground. We are seeing APSRTC buses being off the ground, and fear of violence. There is, many of those leaders are reporting to us that they have been kept under house arrest, not being allowed to come out, because the administration says that there could be law and order issues if the Telugu Desam leaders come out and they could incite trouble. The Telugu Desam on its part, spokesperson Mr. Kutumba Rao in fact has said that yes, the design tech, which is a venture with which the AP government had entered into an agreement, they may have indulged in some GST violations which had led to the original probe by the GST authorities, and the siphoning off of funds by design tech is being, in a sense, the crime is being put on to Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, whereas he has no direct involvement in any of that, and they are saying those violations allegations by those design tech firm is being rubbed off on Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, and he also alleges a political conspiracy. Mr. Naidu, of course, has said that it is 45 years of public service. He believes that the people of the state would stand with him, and that it is part of a political conspiracy that he is being arrested in this manner. In Hyderabad, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.